Welcome to LMC Cast with your host, Gladys Dibble, broadcasting straight from the studio on the Avenue in Mamaroneck, where we bring together the voices and stories that define Larchmont and Mamaroneck. Let's dive in. In today's segment, we have an entrepreneur by the name of Vinny Brusco. He's causing quite a buzz in town, and I would love for everyone to hear about him. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Vinny Brusco.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you.
Excellent.
We've heard a lot about Agora Social Club. You heard it here, everyone, at LMC Media. So tell me a little bit about this social club.
So Agora Social Club is a membership-based men's social club located in the heart of Larchmont. About 6 years ago, a friend of mine was going through some troubles, and we'd speak every single day. And one morning he called me and said, "Hey, listen, you need to start a men's group." And I was like, "I don't have any idea how to do a men's group. I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "You need to start a men's group." So I spoke to a couple people who I knew who were therapists and who had facilitated men's groups before. And I reached out to them. I was like, "What do you guys do?" And I picked their brains a little bit. And I reached out to a bunch of guys that had bigger conversations, not the traditional like water cooler, how was the game type of talk, but like bigger stuff. And the first one was at American Legion. We had over 20-something guys there. And in that moment, I was like, oh, there's something here. So we continued doing that and we still do it now, called the Council of Dudes. And within the last 4 years, I've been really being this drum of guys need a space. They need a third space to go to that's not the gym, it's not the bar, it's not home, it's not work, but a place where they can kind of gather, come together, like-minded individuals, and just take a deep breath. And we all need that. We all need that space.
Sure do.
So that's been the last 4 years. In January, I got the keys to a space smaller than I originally wanted, but I walked in and I said, I can make this work. And we just opened up last week. And it's been a great start, and I'm just excited to be able to provide this to the community.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Truly. And it's great to hear that you're actually doing this for men, because I feel as a woman, we do this on a regular basis.
Do you? Good to know.
We sure do. If we get together in a house, for example, within the 10 minutes of us being there, we're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we start talking. And it's not about Zumba class or, I don't know, everyday life. It's about those deep conversations. Those are the type of conversations that we're having.
That's good to know.
It's good to let it out, because sometimes you don't know that others are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So to hear that you're doing something like this for men is amazing.
Thank you.
That is one of the things that women complain about men, is that they cannot express themselves. So I think you're going to be facilitating that.
Yeah.
Giving them that space to be able to talk about big issues.
Yeah. That's the goal. I mean, the big thing about it is in doing those men's groups, I realized it was something I needed personally, right? Let's just start there. It was something that I needed deeper, more meaningful conversations. And as guys, we aren't given the space, boys don't cry, get to work, that type of mentality. And there is some substance there, and it's important to have that mindset. But the reality is that we all are kind of experiencing the same thing on some level. That's the big takeaway I get from every one of these groups that we do. And it's the fact that, someone might be experiencing this thing, but the root of it is the same. And they're just expressed in different forms. And to have someone from an urban setting affect someone from an upper level income and everyone having these conversations, and you realize that it is all interwoven. And that was a big thing for me. I left one of the meetings, I came home, and I told my wife, I was like, I feel like I just had Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, I feel so full. And there's this old Greek mythological aspect of things called the golden thread. There's the three sisters of fate. And one creates your life, one ends your life, and one wovens your life. And I felt this feeling in the meeting that was just coming out of me, like just going through the room. Like we were all just connected. And I was just like, that's the thing I want to follow. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I'm following that thing. And it's led me to a place where I could say now we've created Agora, and having these conversations are becoming bigger and more impactful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it, because there's nothing better than you feeling that gratification
That's the
in
thing,
what you
right?
do. Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You want to end your day and just feel fulfilled.
Right.
Right. So how did you come up with the name?
So I was at my day job, And I was speaking to some people, and I was at my desk, and I was like, what was the place where the philosophers would meet in ancient Greece? And I Googled it, and it came up Agora. And the Agora was like the meeting space. It was where people would go to vote. It's where they would go and have just debates. It was the marketplace. So it's kind of where everyone came and gathered. But it was also where the philosophers would go, and they would philosophize, and they'd figure out life, and they'd talk about their problems and try to put everything together. So as soon as I looked up and it came up, I was like, that's it. It was just instant. I knew it was it. And again, following that feeling of confirmation from God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But in that moment, I was like, that's what it's got to be called. No question.
So I know you have a clip for us to see, which I would love to play it right now because
Sure.
I want everyone to see this.
Sure. Awesome.
All right, let's watch it.
Welcome to Agora Social Club, the Westchester's hub for guys to gather, connect, and unwind. In the last 6 years, I've been facilitating a men's group called the Council of Dudes. And within that 6 years, I realized that guys need a place where they can get together, connect, and build community. A place that's not the gym, that's not jujitsu, that's not the bar, but a place where guys can come with no ego and grow and develop together. So here we have our chess table. We're gonna be having monthly chess lessons and our take a book, leave a book library. Some of these I've read, some of these I haven't. Quantum physics to personal development to fiction. We also have our record player area. In the last few years, I've become very obsessed with jazz music. And if you don't know how to play a vinyl, no big deal. It hooks up to your phone via Bluetooth. We have artwork from California to local artists. We have these small little work tables, so if you want to hang on the couch and get some work done, you can just come pop them open. And we also have our little workspace here with quotes from Muhammad Ali, Albert Einstein, Theodore Roosevelt. We also have our coffee bar, small fridge, and more quotes and artwork over the wall. Head on over to agorasocialclub.com, sign up for our free 7-day trial, and with that, you will get a key fob. Scan your key fob, and you have access to this space from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. So if you're a guy in the Westchester area and you're looking to gather, connect, and unwind with like-minded men, head on over to agorasocialclub.com and sign up.
Wow, that sounds great.
It sounds good, right?
Someone should do it for women.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a women's meeting space in Manhattan. And when I was doing the early research on this, and again, like you think these thoughts and you have these ideas and they come to you, and you automatically, me personally, and I'm sure it's for most people, you go into this like self-doubt mode. You know, you go into this like, what am I thinking? Why? But then I came to fruition that there was a women's space as well in Manhattan. It was very successful, did very well for a while. And it was almost this confirmation in my own mind that this is a real business model. Like, this is a real thing. I'm thinking of something. It's been proven to work for women, but why wouldn't it work for men? And just, again, with those conversations, I realized that guys do need this space. Guys need to have like-minded people around them because, again, we're not in a culture that promotes that so much.
Yes, we're not. So it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's say my husband joins.
Yeah.
What would us outside of the physical space?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So there's different packages.
Okay.
There's the man, the myth, and the legend. Each package kind of contributes to your overall health and wellness, mind, body, and spirit. So let's just go to the top of the line package, which is called the legend. There is access to the space. We also do facilitate breath work from there, which has been super impactful for me in my own life. Also sensory deprivation, which again has been another modality for me that has really elevated my thought, my consciousness, just my relationship with myself. Right. And then we also have affiliations with a local CrossFit, as well as a physical therapist and local Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Igor Gracie Academy. So it's all these different opportunities to kind of grow yourself in ways that I've experienced that I know they've worked for me. Now, maybe not all of them are aligned with everybody, but just trying different things has been such a huge part of my own growth and evolution. You know, we spoke a little bit before, but the playing aspect of life, you know, we lose
Right.
that as we get older. And that's something that I, you know, having 2 small children, I see them engaging in that. They just try anything and they think they're great at everything.
That's right.
And that's such a wonderful thing to take away and to try to move through life that way.
So you're bringing them back the magic.
Yeah, the magic. That's
the
a
magic
huge.
that they lose.
Yeah, that's been. There's been four mantras as I've kind of evolved this whole thing, and the first one is "Don't lose your dinosaur," which from the movie Step Brothers. If you've seen it, the essence of the end of the movie is don't lose that thing you enjoyed when you were a kid, right?
Right.
The second is that magic is real, and I think that's a huge one that we lose as adults. You know, we get caught up in a grind and a hustle so often. And life is magical. Like when you just step outside and you look up, you're like, this is bizarre. Like, forget about video games and movies and all. Like, this is bizarre, right? It's a really weird experience, but it's real, and like there's a magic to it that when you tap into that, it leads you to the next one, which is follow the golden thread, which again is kind of what pulls you towards. You want to call it the better version of yourself or whatever it is, but it pulls you rather than you like forcefully. There's a flow element to it. And the last is from one of my favorite movies, Field of Dreams, which is if you build it, they will come. And it doesn't have to be a physical build, right? It could just be if you show up in a way that's in alignment with who you are, the results will breed. And I think that's such a huge takeaway in any of this, because it is hard to step into the unknown and the discomfort.
Definitely. It really is. But people like us, that we just like actually make ourselves do it, then you actually can see that it's okay. It's okay to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and just see for yourself what it's all about.
It's needed. You know,
Yes.
I think that forced discomfort and your own discomfort is what breeds you to be more successful or more comfortable with the discomfort. You know, if you're putting yourself in these uncomfortable situations, then when the world presents you with uncomfortable situations, you might be able, if you're lucky enough or blessed enough, you might be able to respond to it rather than react to it. And there's a lot of power in that, in being able to see something, not instantly react, but digest it and change the filter and put your own path forward rather than just reacting.
Yes. So I know we have a little clip of inside the studio, and I would love for you to, before we actually show the clip, talk to us about the aesthetic of the physical location.
Sure.
Tell us what it looks like.
I like to think of old, study space, an old gentleman's study. You know, there's no TVs, there's no beer, there's no wings, there's no football. And it's funny because the guys you speak to, when you mention that you're opening a social club, they instantly think those are going to be factors in it.
Right.
And I understand that. And again, that kind of plays into the male stereotype, right? Like, we need to have the TV on and wings and football and cigars and whiskey. And those are all great things. I'm not against any of those things.
Right.
But this is just a space to carve out for higher level thinking, a space to carve out for deeper conversation. Like I said in the previous video, we have monthly chess lessons. We have monthly breath work. We have a take a book, leave a book library that has, Batman, Game of Thrones, quantum physics, all different things, because those are all things that I've read, or I tried to read some of them.
Right.
And they all serve in their own different way. Fiction is a great way to gain empathy. And learning about quantum physics is a cool way to learn about the world.
That's right.
So it's just, the sense of it is just relaxed, old school, kind of dark green walls and dark leather couches, vinyl player. I have artwork from some local artists. I have artwork from an artist out in California. And it's just, that's the aesthetic, that's the vibe to it, is just old gentleman study.
That looks great.
Thank you.
And I would love to send my husband and his friends there, because I really think that they can benefit from it.
Yeah.
And so would any men out there. And I think that this is a concept that the women are probably very interested in sending their husbands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's great.
The cool thing about it is when you sign up for it, you get a key fob, which I mentioned in the video, but that gives you access to the space on your own. So if you have something in between work, or you do work from home, and it's a way to kind of break out of the inertia and the momentum of life sometimes. And you get a key fob like a hotel, you scan your key fob, and the space is essentially yours for the day. It's just to find, I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I don't cycle. I'm not a cyclist.
Right.
But you could connect with someone there, and then all of a sudden you have a whole new relationship that does something like cycling, say. Let's just take that for example. And now you guys could be on bike rides together, for the rest of your lives. It can create such connection and relationships that can completely alter your pathway in life. Networking and creating these, again, deeper relationships and conversations. And that's something that, the age-old question is like, is it what you know or who you know? And to me, my realization was it's this ladder. What you know gets you around who you know, then that teaches you what you know, then that gets you around who you know, and it's just never-ending, amazing process. But it starts with just conversation and connection and really authenticity and being vulnerable.
Correct. And that's so important. Just being able to just have a discussion with somebody, and then seeing it through, right? Building on that first conversation. My kids always tell me, you're always talking to everyone. I'm like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Even at, let's say, checking out from a supermarket, and I notice that the cashier is not too happy. And I'll just say, hey, you okay? Or it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now we're speaking, and then by the time that I'm done, she has a smile in her face.
Yeah.
So those connections and conversations really do mean a lot, whether they're small or big.
Yeah, the humanistic aspect, I think, it's amazing because with social media and everything, we feel like we're so connected, and it's an age-old problem, right? We're really seeing it, but we think that we're so connected in this way, but we're really so disconnected. There's a recent audio, I think it was on Instagram, wherever I heard it, but it was that loneliness is more detrimental to your health than smoking or drinking. And that's a real problem. And then with everything that just transpired over the last few years, people are now becoming more and more lonely, especially guys. I mean, that's, like you had mentioned earlier, women will get together and have these conversations. As guys, you almost feel like showing up and having a conversation with another guy about your emotions or your feelings is like not manly,
Correct.
But some of the most manly people I know, or that I've experienced and spoken to, they're in touch with that part of them. It's important to be so, especially if you want to show up as a better husband, father, whatever it is.
Right.
It's important to be in touch with all parts of you, and that's really something that's I preach a lot.
Do you feel like your upbringing had something to do with the way you think now and how passionate you are?
That's a great question. I think so. I mean, my father and my mother are both very hardworking individuals. My dad's a vet, so it wasn't uncommon for me to see him very vulnerable. And yeah, I think that growing up I grew up in the Bronx, so growing up kind of in this weird, kind of, it was just a different experience. I feel like the Bronx is like this vacuum of existence that's just very different outside of most places. But yeah, I think that, the way I grew up was just pretty traditional, but in its own right, I was a very, that magic I talk about, I was very into like playing with my action figures as a kid, all stuff like that. So I'd go in my own little world when I was playing with my action figures, and then, in art and stuff like that. So I really always was immersed in doing things that almost took me out of myself, right? Kind of like that third person looking in. And whether that been radio or now podcasting or, playing with my action figures or artwork, I just always and I was always encouraged to seek those things and do those things.
So I was looking at your Instagram page.
Yes.
And you do have a lot of qualifications. So why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
I do a lot. And I think that's a big problem to have, but it's also the way I operate, the way my brain works. So in regards to, I host a podcast as well. I do have a life coaching certification. So I do offer one-on-one coaching in Agora in that space as well. I'm a father of 2 small children. My daughter's 9, my son's 4, married, work a full-time job, building a business, train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Wow. So I do a lot. A mentor of mine, he has a similar way, and it's almost like I can't just stop doing those things, and I will find a way to get as much of them in. Kind of like we were speaking about earlier, like the magic, the joy, like that's what it's about, we get caught up in how we should show up in the world, and we take jobs or we do things that are kind of like, all right, I'm just going to do this for the next, and that was a catalyst for me is, looking, going, this is all I do? Like, I just make money and that's it? Like, I just go to work, make money, get a vacation here and there, and that's it. It just didn't sit right with me. So I'm on the journey to to expand myself and grow outside of what I even think I'm capable of.
Well, I'm very impressed, and I wish you so much success in your journey. You heard it here at LMC Cast. Women, invite your husbands to the Agora Social Club. And men, you can hear it for yourself. This is a great opportunity for you to just be yourself and network and be social and just let it all out. I think you guys need to let it all out.
Everyone's very uptight right now.
I know.
The world is an uptight place.
My gosh.
Let's all just relax and just chill.
Take a deep breath.
Let's get some box breathing going. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming. You've been great. I really appreciate
Thank you so much
speaking.
for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
And that wraps up another episode of LMC Cast. I'm Gladys Dibble, thanking you for tuning in and joining us from the studio on the Avenue. This podcast was recorded at the LMC Media Studio on the Avenue in Mamaroneck, New York. Visit lmcmedia.org to book your time in this state-of-the-art, convenient location, walkable from the Mamaroneck train station. You can also support this nonprofit media center at lmcmedia.org/donate. Goodbye for now. Let's stay connected and continue to create a community that thrives together. Till next time.